Oh, hello to everybody. Hello to all people who are watching us. So I'm Irina. I'd like to introduce myself. I have YouTube channel, a little YouTube channel community about Ukraine, about Ukrainian culture, different Ukrainian events. And in this way, I'd like to support Ukraine. I'm communicate with volunteers, with different people who help to guys on the front lines. So in such way, we would like to show how beautiful Ukraine are and just attract more people to support. So some weeks ago, I was contacted by James. Yeah, he told that he is from my region, from Cherkasy region. He live in the village, that he is American. And he invited me to make a live video together. So now we are doing this video.
Woohoo!
Yeah. Hello, James.
Hi.
You have very interesting equipment around you, Ukrainian flag and the old Ukrainian item.
Yeah, icon. Yeah. It's not. You don't get much more Ukrainian than this,
Yeah.
And my wife has her orchids. Every Ukrainian woman is obsessed with orchids, of course. Orchidee.
Orchidee, yeah.
Yeah. So that's
it's started like 10 years ago. Orchidee.
really, yeah. It's like
wanted to plant that.
it's a big deal. My wife's really. We have, I don't know, more than 100 orchids, basically. And then you can't really see it because of the bad light, but these plants up here are my chili peppers.
Wow.
Habanero y jalapeno chili peppers. So we have
chili peppers.
Chili peppers, chili peppers.
So you're going to eat them?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Of course. I had them. They were growing on our little farm. We had a little fazenda. Okay. And it's gotten too cold, and so we dug them up and brought them indoors now. And I had about 50 chili pepper plants.
It's interesting because here in England it's not very good weather, and I have a friend who is from Kyiv region, and she take her mom to here. Her mom is like 85 years old, and in the past she was farmer. He was agronome, like in collective farm. So she love a lot of different plants. In her house in Ukraine, she has a lot of different flowers, and here she was taken just to apartment. So she tried to create her space. She planted tomatoes just on the windows, and she presented some of these tomatoes to us. And my mom planted it outside of this British house. And when we came back from Ukraine, the end of summer, we got a lot of different tomatoes, but a lot of them were green because it's rainy weather.
Yeah.
But anyway, yesterday we have our friend as a guest, and we tried just yellow tomatoes.
Yeah. No, the chili peppers also, because habaneros and jalapenos are not, they require too much heat for too long of a time.
Yeah.
So that's why I brought them inside, because chili peppers are not annual plants. So in Mexico, where they are native, they don't die in the winter. They can live for like 50, 60 years. One plant.
Yeah.
So I will plant these chili peppers out in the spring, and plant them outside.
Yeah. There's different land have different condition, because when we first time came to Great Britain, we were impressed that during the winter here so green. There is a lot of rains and everything's so green. Oh my God! Because in Ukraine usually we have snow.
Right.
Probably not like that.
Yeah.
So I would like to ask about you because that's for me it's unusual. That's s- like many foreigners, they refuse to come back to Western Europe, but they stay in Ukraine and
Mhm.
actively support Ukraine.
Yeah.
I know just recently you joined also Ukrainian Armed Force,
Yeah.
volunteering. It was
Yeah.
your decision. Yeah. So if we start from beginning, where are you from originally, and what
Um,
did you do before you came to Ukraine?
yeah. So I was born in California. Um, and I lived I grew up in California. Uh,
You know that
and,
Ukrainians knew very well Santa Barbara in California
oh,
because
why?
like
TV.
20 years ago it was very popular, this movie, the big film, a serial about Santa Barbara.
That's funny. That's funny.
It's
That's
very
actually
rich.
where my dad met my mom. Actually,
Mm.
in
Ah, cool,
Santa
yeah.
Barbara. But I mean, I think that Santa Barbara, that those kind of TV shows and movies give a very bad impression of California because,
Yeah, it's give impression that there are just rich people live. And
well, yeah, and also that like everyone lives by the beach, you
no.
know. And, I mean, just and the weather, what the weather's like in California. It's think about like the thing about Ukraine is the climate is basically the same. Maybe it's a little bit more dry in like Donbass or Kharkiv, and it's more wet in Lviv or the Carpathians.
Hmm.
But it's basically the same. In California, you can drive 25 miles, 30 kilometers, and be in a completely different climate. You can go from, the ocean to the desert, from
I
the
understand.
mountains to the sea, and I mean real mountains. I'm not talking about like your hills, your 2,000-meter Hoverla uh, uh, Carpathian hills. I mean like 3,000-meter mountains or
Understand.
more.
Yeah, but this is interesting. Like you can try different like
Oh yeah,
climates.
in the same day, just have like 10 different freaking climates. And another really important thing to understand about California is farming. Farming is the California was founded on farming.
Ah,
You know,
understand.
I
Like
mean,
here in England, there are here a lot of farmers.
yeah, but
Different.
like 75% of the fruits in America and nuts, 50% of milk and cheese, all kinds of vegetables like garlic and tomatoes, they all come from California.
Mm.
The rest of the country has wheat and corn and soybeans.
Mm.
California is like people
Yeah.
think about like Kherson
Mm.
in as like the with the watermelons, and that's that. So California is like the Kherson of America.
Ah,
That's
understand. Because I think I thought that Texas is like known with farmers.
who.
Texas, in the south.
Texas,
Sorry.
Texas grows a lot of. Texas has wheat, a lot of wheat.
Mm.
You know, they and cows. They have a lot of cows. You know, but California is has the most productive um, agricultural economy in the United
Mm.
States by far.
Understand.
Like
Yeah.
the other Texas, all these other ones, they don't even come close to touching
Yeah.
California.
Yeah,
So
I remember that before the war, I was tour guide in Kiev, and one of my tourists came and he presented to me something like oranges from
mhm,
his garden,
mhm.
and I was impressed that he bring them from America, and he was very proud to present to me. It was interesting. He told
Yeah,
that I
yeah,
grow it in my garden. Yeah,
yeah.
interesting.
That's the the actual town where so the city I was born in is called Sacramento. It's like the
Ah,
capital.
okay.
But the town where I grew up in was called Orange Vale.
So,
Orange.
yeah. So your parents make farming?
No, 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 no.
No.
My father is a grocery store manager
Ah, just a
in
minute. Ah.
America, and
Mm.
uh, only one member of my family still lives in California.
Mm.
Yeah,
Understand. Your
yeah,
parents not. Mhm.
yeah.
And
No,
yeah, and you told that you moved to Silicon Valley, and
yeah. Well,
it was part of
sure.
IT
So
community.
I lived in New Mexico for 15 years.
Mm.
Um, in if you know where that is, it's the desert. You know, Albuquerque. It's
Is it on the south of US?
yeah, Southwest. In the
Mm.
Southwest. Yeah. So I
Mm.
lived in the American Southwest for 17 years, and then came back to California and lived in Silicon Valley.
Ah.
So
Because that's many like people would like to live in Silicon Valley, and I know many bloggers who now live there, and they
yeah,
were like they are impressed that this is the best place for create ideas. You can be inspired by by people around. That's many
it's yeah,
startups in Silicon
Silicon
Valley.
Valley. It's the best place if you like paying $5,000 rent, for a
Okay.
tiny apartment. It's great
Yeah.
for that,
Yeah.
like no, I mean it's a dream. Um but when everybody tries to follow the same dream, it's
Mhm.
Silicon Valley is a great place. If you like seeing lots of homeless people everywhere,
Uh,
it's great. You know,
San,
I
San,
mean,
San Francisco, yeah. Oh,
yeah, the whole thing, all the
yeah.
way from San Jose all the way up to San Francisco, that whole area. It's just, you know, now of course I left in 2019, so maybe
Because
things
as I
got better.
understand, the same as in England, like poor people concentrate usually in the big cities, and like here in town nearby live usually immigrants, and here nearby in different villages here live English people and people who can allow themselves like houses and.
Yeah. Well, it's more about like how expensive is the rent, you
Hmm.
know? So, if you
Because
want
in,
to
yeah, in Ukraine we have totally different situation because usually in villages we have very cheap accommodation. You can buy a house for 5,000 US dollars, but in big cities like Bila Tserkva, like Kiev, they're like from 70,000 US dollars. But anyway,
Sure.
it's much more cheaper than in Great Britain.
It's still cheap. Yeah, it's still
Yeah.
cheap, but
Yesterday,
yeah, but
yeah. Yesterday we were for washing our friend cars, and there were caravans. This big van where you
mhm.
can sleep and you can travel, and they cost
In America we call them motorhomes.
yeah, and they
Yeah.
cost like 80,000 pounds. I told that
That's
for
cheap.
80,000 pounds you can buy apartment in Kiev region in big city.
80,000 pounds is a cheap one. They
Yeah.
they
Mm.
start at 80,000 pounds and go up in
Yeah, but
price.
you cannot live there all the time. You can just here nearby we have neighbor who have caravan, but he use it just like twice a year. So I have no,
So
I don't know
in
the point.
America, what happens is people will buy these motorhomes, caravans, as you say, and they'll use them like once a year, maybe, and then
Yeah,
they'll use them like once or twice, and then never, and then they just sit for 10 years. These things,
yeah,
and then so what happens is you can actually buy in America a 10-20 year old motorhome for $5,000, $10,000,
yeah,
and so in Silicon Valley, if you drive around the streets of around Google and Apple and all of these companies, you just drive the streets around them, are filled with these motorhomes and trailers, caravans. And what it is people realize that, okay, I could pay $5,000 for 1 month rent, or even maybe almost 10,000, or I could take that money and buy a motorhome and just live in that, and then I can work at my job as a Apple Google engineer.
So many people live in such a motor.
I'm telling you, if you go to Silicon Valley and you just, drive around the streets around, like I said, Apple, Google, all these other big companies, the streets are lined with motorhomes, and they've got like Teslas parked behind them, because people they live in a motorhome, or sometimes just in a van or a trailer or a truck, because it doesn't make any sense, especially if you work at these IT companies and you're working like ridiculous long hours. You never see your home anyway. So,
Here in Great Britain, very popular boat, because here a lot of canals. For instance, from Banbury to Oxford, there are the big canal. And just this weekend there was festival, and we like people who live on the boat, they created the festival. I like these people because they kind of romantic adventure, that's they help us not stuck in some just make money and everything. So
well, but it's also, it's also a symptom of a problem. If your cost of living is so high that people can't work at just a regular job and live in your city, you've got a problem. Even in San Jose, which is, a city in Silicon Valley, the police in San Jose were living in caravans in the police parking lot, because they couldn't afford the rent in the city. And so what a lot of people do is they will rent a house or buy a house maybe 100 miles, 150 miles. So that's like, what is that? 250 kilometers away. Okay. Or even 300 kilometers away. And they'll drive to work every day to Silicon Valley, So your friends that are like, oh, it's the best place to, yes, but also no.
She told that it's very expensive to buy a house there. They just rent. It's because they don't know what situation will be in next years. Probably this place will be not very popular. So what they going to do with this house? So if we talk about Ukraine, how did you move to Ukraine? Why did you decided to move from Silicon Valley to Ukraine?
Well, I flew here to Kyiv.
What do you mean?
I flew like with okay. I was gonna make a joke about my arms being very tired, but no. Sorry. No, actually, after I left NASA, I still lived in California, and I did a few other things. But actually, I just wasn't.
As I understand, your profession is like engineering.
I'm a network and systems engineer. So like, I helped build the internet. It's a lot of different things, basically. I was also vice VP of an IT company. So I had some money, and I decided that I wanted to go to Europe to live. And I've wanted to live in Europe all of my adult life. Basically.
Why you prefer Europe? What is difference between Europe and US?
Oh, let me count the ways.
I never have been in US. It was my dream in childhood.
Yeah, yeah, it's so funny. The grass is always greener on the other side, they
Yeah.
say.
I
No,
just, I just choose the place where the farthest away. So it's a track like, oh, America, this
sure,
is on the other side of our
of the
planet.
world. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, I kind of just I got sick of it in many ways. There's kind of a whole culture war going on in America. There's like this struggle um, between like feminism and conservatism, and then like Republicans versus Democrats, and I'm just so sick of it all. Um, and I always really, honestly, from my childhood, kind of felt like a little bit of an alien in my own country. My childhood was different from most other children, and kind of I always felt out of place. And I was right. I should have. I by rights, I probably should have just been living in Europe the whole time.
Yeah.
Um, and I felt much happier when I came here. But I
Because,
actually,
yeah, I just wanted to show tell about my impression about Americans.
mm,
First time when I met Americans, of course, I like this film Santa Barbara. Yeah, everybody watched that time and were like impressed. And first time when I met real American was when I was in, I think, in seventh class. I was
oh,
like 12
okay,
years old,
yeah,
and Americans, they were Baptists, they were kind of
yeah,
religion. They
very
organized
religious.
camping in Cherkasy region. And I so
Yeah,
like them because they were so cheerful, so friendly, They were totally different from our teachers because our teachers were like post-Soviet, like strict very, you should to do this. They always shouted, they always, but these people, they just sit on the floor. For us, it was impressive. And many Ukrainians came to see how the adult just man sit on the dirty floor, and play with children. Yeah,
yeah.
was a very nice lady who teach me English, and I was just fell in love with them. And after this, I decided to learn English.
Mm,
For me, it
that's
was
great.
very difficult because my family was very poor. We could not afford to us like private teacher,
Hmm.
but instead I always listen to BBC radio or
Wow,
communicate with, yeah.
that's a big deal. No,
Yeah,
that makes all the difference.
yeah. We always our TV always was broken, so we listen to radio.
It's actually probably a good thing. It's probably the
Yeah,
best thing
yeah.
that
I
can
think
happen.
now I understand this is a good thing because on radio I listen to Ukrainian music. Till now, I remember all this music. Now it's become popular, but that time it was like old fashioned, or everybody listen pop music. But I
Wow,
listen to right, yeah, context. I
that's
listen to
cool.
yeah, radio channels. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I saw from that time I have like inspiration to learn English. Nevertheless, I learn and go ahead.
It's
Yeah.
one of the things I have noticed, and my students have all told me, is this like you were talking about, kind of the Soviet mentality of teaching. And to be honest, American schools were like that. Maybe up until the 60s, 70s, and they started to change.
Mm.
From this, like, just I am this way, I am the teacher, I am above you, and you are all the stupid students, and
Yeah,
you
here
know
the same.
right,
You are so stupid. Yeah,
yeah,
how you did not understand this. It
right,
was
that's
difficult for Ukrainian teacher, but I
yeah.
hope they will change. They change now. I think many
Since
teachers.
2017, I understand that, but these things take time, and even in America, there are still schools and there are still teachers who have that old style, basically that old methodology, and it takes time to change.
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah, I think
You know.
so. Here in England, they are so polite. Marianne, he used to very gentle behavior. That's everybody respect each other and
Yep.
everything. So it's like,
Yep. Yeah, I mean, calling a kid like stupid, or as a teacher, doing that with a child in America under any circumstances you would be fired
yeah.
immediately. Oh yeah, oh yeah,
But
But
in
here,
our school, the wife of the head of the school, they call us stupid, and
yeah,
you
oh yeah,
know, yeah, there
yeah,
was just one very clever teacher. He in the past he was policeman, but after he decided to be teacher of history. That is why I like history. And he was very funny. He
yeah.
always makes some jokes, and he like us.
Isn't that interesting that people who maybe they had some other experience outside of just being teachers,
Yeah,
and sometimes those people can be the best teachers, really.
yeah, because when you just teacher and you live all the time in this atmosphere, with the same, you become like very strict and everything. But
Yeah.
he was, and by the way, this my teacher of history, in that time it was like 99 or something, the end of 90s. And in that time, we have our second president, Kuchma,
Hmm.
make agreement that Ukraine lose its how it's called weaponries.
Oh, right. That
This,
was
yeah, and make its
1994.
Budapest agreement.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he told that it's just very bad. It's very difficult decision because it will impact Ukrainian future. That's Ukraine become without weaponries. And now I remember his word. He was very right. That's when this was started, and we have no weaponries at all, and we need to take them from West and from US. So it's a bit.
Yeah.
But if we come back to when you come to Europe, so why did you decided to live in Ukraine?
Well, first of all, I guess, I mean, first of all, I traveled all over Europe before I came to Ukraine, and I almost stayed in Germany, for example. I liked it there; it was nice.
Yeah, I never have been there.
Yeah,
I
but
wish people are very serious. So I
so
prefer
many
Italy.
rules is that, yeah, and very serious, and lots of rules.
Yeah, in England the same.
Yeah. And I so it was fine though, but then I actually went to Sweden, and I lived in Sweden for a couple of months, and I really liked it there too.
Sweden is
Uh,
really great. I have some friends who were my tourists from Sweden.
yeah. I mean, I actually had a couple people propose marriage to me in
Yeah,
Sweden. Yeah,
in
yeah,
Sweden.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
the
Um,
flag is very active, and like equal rights.
yeah, yeah, yeah. A lot of good things there. But I decided that I wanted to kind of keep going, and I came to Ukraine. My plan was originally, when I came to Europe, my plan was to ride my bicycle across Europe
Ah, oh,
from Amsterdam to Norway to
wow,
Kiev.
wow.
Unfortunately, um, when I was in Germany, I broke my leg.
Hmm.
Tore my ACL specifically, so the ligament in my knee, and couldn't ride my bicycle anymore.
Wow. Yeah.
and
I
and
can
I
no, I cannot live without a bicycle. I'm
yeah.
going to Banbury by bicycle
Mm,
and back, and it's like so inspire. You just wake up when you travel all this rainy weather by bicycle, not by bus. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah. So that happened in my first 2 weeks in Europe, and so I decided to just keep on traveling and keep going to the places I was going to go and see the places I was going to see. Just not on a bicycle. So I did that and continued to travel all over Europe, and then um,
did you use a hitchhike?
yeah, I did actually. So I mean, some part of the time I did, yeah.
Because
Um,
that's the first time when I came to Europe, it was after my university years. I with my friend decided to go to Europe anyway, and it was very difficult to get visa to there, but anyway we got and we were so happy. So we visited Hungary, after moved to Spain. After Spain, we go into France, to Italy, and every time we use like hitchhike, bus. In Spain, hitchhike is not very good,
mm,
actually, but it
mm,
was so adventure, when you just go in somewhere, swim in the sea, sleep on the bench, sleep on the beach. So very adventurous. It's
yeah,
like
yeah,
2 weeks and a half.
yeah. I actually met a group of like hitchhiking people. Hitchhiking nudists.
Hitchhiking.
Yeah,
Very
and
interesting.
yeah. But they really liked me. They were hitchhiking all over Sweden actually, and they really liked me because I was on crutches, because
Ah,
I had a broken leg.
wow.
So people, I'd be walking down the road and cars would just stop to help me. I didn't have to stick out my thumb or anything. People would just offer to help me, and then my friends would all come out, and they'd all get in the car and we'd
Wow.
travel.
Yeah, I know. I have some people on the car.
um but
So
yeah, I just decided that I almost stayed in, like I said, I almost stayed in Sweden. It was nice, but I made the
when it was here? What year?
2019.
19. Yeah.
2019, yeah.
So did you know about Ukraine? Some information
Well,
about
I mean, not very much. I mean, I knew about the war, um, and I knew about Maidan, um, and that's
2015?
yeah, that's about it, to be honest.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
um,
probably after Maidan, Western people understand where is Ukraine and where is Russia. That's
yeah, yeah.
there
Well, I
is
mean,
different country, Ukraine.
the big thing is, so like way back in 2013, 2014, when I was VP of an IT company, and we hired people from different countries to do work for us, and some of our contractors were Ukrainian, you know,
Hmm.
and they were actually at Maidan at the protests, like it, in the morning or in the evening or whatever. They go to the protest and then they come to the office and do work for us. Um,
You mean from Ukraine, removally?
yeah, they were in Ukraine. They were at Maidan, and we were watching this happen on the news, you know, and I was just really impressed by this, that Ukrainians were able to make a positive change. Uh,
I would like to tell you that's half of Kiev in that time. They going to work and after work going to Maidan.
yeah, yeah.
That time I used to work in Museum of Gold. I was tour guide, but there were not many people.
Mm,
And after work, sometimes at night, you go into Maidan, and in the morning, you go in for work, like 2 hours sleep. So,
yeah,
yeah, but
yeah,
there was so inspiring society. So, I don't know, it changed
yeah,
us a lot. It
yeah,
changed many people.
yeah,
So,
yeah, and I spent many years in America protesting against my government, doing stupid crap and against government corruption. It never changed anything. It did nothing, exactly zero. So,
Because do you know that about Ukraine here on the West, many told that Ukraine is corrupted, and many guys who now left Ukraine, they told that, oh, we cannot stay in Ukraine because they press us to go to Ukrainian army. How we can live in Ukraine as this is poor country and it's given nothing to me and it's
oh,
so
I've heard that so much.
so I don't know, but I think it's.
I hear that all the time. I
Mm,
mean, even from my own students, because I taught English here. Oh, Ukraine gave nothing to me. What has Ukraine ever done for me? I'm like, how about 12 years of education?
yeah.
How about free healthcare? How about just freedom in general? I mean, all of these things that we don't in America. We don't have free healthcare, and our you think America is so great, but the number one cause of bankruptcy in America is healthcare.
Mm,
you know, it's nuts. It's insane. People die every day because they just can't afford to go to the hospital, and so
mm,
they go to the emergency room. That it does nothing.
mm.
Um,
I
and
do you know that I think Ukraine changed a lot during the last 20 years,
yeah,
because first time when I came to Kiev, it was like 2004, in the time of the Orange Revolution. And there are a lot of people who speak Russian. I used to work as a waitress, and all girls around me, they try to speak Russian because it was like poch. It was nice. Yeah. But now a lot of people speak Ukrainians. You even don't hear Russian. We have so many nice places to go in Ukraine. When I visited Ukraine this summer, in small cities, on big cities, I have seen so lovely places. Everything is clean. People try to clean street, although is alarm, and although there is bombing. Anyway, there are nice coffee house. There are nice just surrounded. So I think Ukraine does a lot of work and just change a lot.
yeah. I mean, I get that impression because when how do I say this? When I speak occasionally, I speak to Ukrainians who left Ukraine like 20 years ago, and they have a very bad opinion of Ukraine. And in many cases, they don't they kind of basically agree with Russia. They don't even think Ukraine is a country in some cases, or they just think it's just trash, rubbish.
Do you mean
You know,
Ukrainians who live now in US or in the West?
yeah, yeah. Okay, they left like 20 years ago, and in their mind, it's still the same.
Yeah.
And obviously, if you if you don't like a country bad enough, and if you dislike a country enough to leave it, you probably don't have a very good opinion to begin with. But it would be like me in 15 years talking about America. America is going to change, and so in 10 or 15 years, I won't have any place to say about what America is like, because America will have changed in a lot of ways, probably completely. Maybe there won't be homeless people in Silicon Valley and $5,000 a month.
I would like to tell that they are right that in 1990s, when Soviet Union break down, it was very difficult situation. I remember that my mom had very like low salary. She has just 50 grivnas in a month, and she was librarian in village school. So it's very difficult was to survive. We work on the field, so it's really. But now it changed a lot because I was tour guide in Kiev, and a lot of tourists came to us and see how beautiful is Kiev, how beautiful are all surrounded. Last like 10 years, we got a lot private farmers. I know that we have some private farmers in our village in Cherkasy region. First, of course, people had no job, but in 2000, many people came to Poland, they worked there, they came back to Ukraine, and after they were thinking, why we need to go to Poland and work there if we can work here in Ukraine, actually. And they started to rent the land and work on this. So they got not bad money for this.
Exactly. And, you know, I would look at, for example, the example that I like to use is Ireland. You know, so in 1990, Ireland was the poorest country in Western Europe, and people were leaving Ireland. You know, there are millions of Irish people and descendants of Irish people in America, and they had been leaving Ireland for 200 years. You know,
there are many Ukrainians go to Ireland because
now
Ireland was one of the first countries who provide accommodation for Ukraine.
Yeah, now that's true, but in 1990, it was the opposite. Nobody wanted to go to Ireland, you know, and it was very
Albania, you know, the same as Albania or Bulgaria, some country 10 years ago. We think, oh, we're never going to Albania, but now there are so nice beach resources and everything. These countries also were corrupted. I know this about Albania. They are gypsy, or about Romania. But now they joined European Union. Many people from Albania, Romania went to UK. They started to speak English. They started to follow the rules. So, I think they need just give us chance to.
Exactly. And but a lot of Ukrainians don't believe that Ukraine will ever change. And, you know, those people, a lot of those people are the people who left, you know, because of this war. And I mean, I think that I don't know. I mean, I know you're living in England, you know, which ironically, England is the place where I wanted to live. So, like, I thought I was going to move to England for most of my adult life. That was my plan.
Yeah, so, I also like England. I was here in 2016 in London, but now I understand it's London and countryside. It's totally different psychologically, like mentally.
Big time.
You know.
Big time. So tell me about it. What are the cultural differences that you're struggling with, or things that you like or dislike, you know, in
how about if we continue this conversation next time?
Sure. Oh yeah, look, we're at 45 minutes, aren't we?
Yeah, because I have appointment.
Life.
Yeah. So in this video, you're going to tell us about how you married in Ukraine and how you decided to join Ukrainian Armed Force.
Yes. Yes.
So it was really nice, you know, conversation and so different topics. So I think we surely need to continue. Probably next week.
I think so too.
Дякую.
All right. Cool. See you.
See you next time. So see you next time, and thank you for conversation. It was really great. If you have any question, guys, you can make your comment or share this video. So in this way,
there we go. All right.
Support and more people knew about Ukrainians and Americans who live in Ukraine as well. Okay,
до побачення.